Are you running a marathon? Oh my god, I could never run a marathon. You sure about that? My god, a marathon? That's like 42 kilometers, 26 miles. I don't understand those people.
You know the drill by now. That used to be me. Welcome to the Marathon Podcast. My name is Christian Warwick, and man, do I have something cool to share with you today. Today, we're joined by Joe, Azoia-Joe. We'll let him introduce himself later in the podcast. But I loved having Joe on the podcast. He really inspires me in the way he creates content, the way he looks at life. And I had so much respect for Joe before I had him on. But after this conversation, I feel like I'm just admiring him even more. The way he looks at running, the way he combines running and life, and having goals while still not really only targeting those time goals that most of us are doing. I feel so honored to have him on the podcast, and I think that our conversation is relevant to everyone who's running, and I think that he also proves and shows that you don't really have to have a running background to do a sub-3 marathon. His running story is, if not unique, pretty cool, and I think very relatable to a lot of us. And I love that he came from a background of no running and a very different lifestyle to going into running and approaching running in a way that is very healthy, and now having a product that we'll talk more about in the podcast, the Azoia-Gel, that is 100% natural, and it's a family business right now. His mom, his sister, and Joe himself, they are in charge of distributing, packaging, and everything when it comes to this really cool new gel. I can't wait for you guys to hear this conversation with Joe, so let's jump to it.
Hey, can you hear me fine?
Yeah, great. How are you?
Good, man. Good.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah, of course. I'm stoked.
Yeah,
for the
I really
conversation.
appreciate it.
Of course, dude. Yeah.
Where are you?
I appreciate you reaching out. This is always fun to do, and I love the, I don't know. It's just a great time to have a conversation, get to know someone better. So
Yeah. Now, I think that this podcast thing is pretty cool because you get to ask all the questions. As you know, like what I love about it is that we don't really know each other before the podcast, because then it's gonna be so much more real.
Yeah.
So that is something that I like a lot. Where are you right now?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Is that where you're from?
No.
No.
I'm from Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, should we just jump to it? Who is Joe?
Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah, you want me to just dive in?
Yeah, please do. Like, who are you? What's your background? I mean, I've been following you on social media, so I feel like I know a little bit, but just introduce yourself.
All right. Yeah. I mean, social media can be misleading. I think we all know that. So let's uncover a little bit more. Yeah. So I'm 25 years old. I now live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I grew up in Nashville. And I would say what I want to, like, throughout this, quick synthesis of my story. I was a rower in high school, and then in college, I didn't do any sports competitively. So I really just was like kind of enjoyed college, was partying, drinking, part of a fraternity, the classic, American college movie, is what I was living. Business major, all that. So that kind of changed. COVID was a big catalyst, as well as studying abroad. So I was an international business major, so I got to study abroad frequently. I actually studied abroad in Norway for a summer.
No, really?
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah,
Where in Norway?
We visited Oslo. We visited where else? Flom, I think it was. It was beautiful. Bergen, Stavanger.
Yeah. Wow, you've really been around. That's cool.
it was awesome. So there, as well as Germany, went to
Wow.
Germany several times, and yeah, that was a big catalyst, like being away from my environment, and
Hmm.
then having to think through a little bit of my identity away from my friends, my weekend habits of going out and all these things.
Yeah.
And uh, yeah, I I started getting into running around that time, COVID plus the traveling abroad, and
So that was like your early 20s.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was turning 21 when COVID hit,
Yeah.
and normally, in the US, that's big around
Yeah.
drinking and all this stuff, but all the bars were shut down. So I kind of had to like, it was a really good time to like reinvestigate my habits. So I was given the space to do so. So I got more into reading, got more into journaling, something really
Cool.
interesting that I was forced to do every time I studied abroad was journal, because they wanted us to capture our experiences and
Mm.
write a little blog or something like that to share our experiences from studying abroad. So I was like, I always was happiest doing that and documenting my days. Why don't I just
Hmm.
start doing that now? Even though I'm just living at home, like with my parents, I'm not doing anything that exciting. But I just saw that that was such a powerful place for reflection. And then, yeah, I like started following a workout program at home. Our gym, we didn't have access to our gym either. So that was like a big catalyst for me. And then started down this path of like optimizing my health and fitness, but more so for the mental aspect, and
Yeah.
seeing that like I'm, I'm the type of person now that like just loves to get the most out of my body, but for the contract that I have with myself and the um all the mental benefits that come with it. So
That's really cool. I actually just a few days ago I watched that video that you made. What was it? I don't remember what like the sentence you used, but it was something about kind of like, I don't know if it was making this kid proud, or it was something about like where you showed this fairly, like you said, unhealthy lifestyle that
yeah,
you had, which was actually surprising to me, because we're gonna get more into like this product that you have
yeah,
that I look at as very healthy. And I obviously, I think I first heard of you through the Life in Stride podcast,
yeah,
and then so my picture of you has been like super healthy, right?
yeah,
And so when I saw that video, I was like, oh, cool, this guy has actually really changed his lifestyle from where he was to where he is now.
yeah,
Can you just share a little bit more about like the storyline of that video, I guess, because that feel like that really captured that
yeah,
part of it. There are two things that I love doing in life, and that is running and making content. And for my content to be better, I need to write music. I've partnered up with Musicbed, and because of that, you can get a free trial of Musicbed by hitting the link down below or in the show notes. Get Musicbed today and make better videos. Back to the show.
yeah, 100%. I think like just like a background, the video is about like me as a kid, me as a like teenager and young adult, and then me like now, and
Mm-hmm.
we see a lot of change. And I feel like in most of my conversations with people who like are why on why you want to run the Boston Marathon,
Mm-hmm.
why you want to get faster, why you want to be healthy, is comes down to a couple of reasons. And some of the biggest ones are for your future self and for your past self.
Mm-hmm.
So I was digging into that here. It's like make that kid proud. So that, innocent, 6 to 5 year old version of yourself, make him proud because he wanted you to do some epic stuff with your life.
Mm-hmm.
This
Yeah.
one chance that you got. And if you're now, 25 or wherever you are, would that kid be smiling, looking at
Mm-hmm.
you and what you're doing with your time?
Yeah.
So that was kind of the essence of it, and like you're completely right. Like I had that moment of unhealthy lifestyle, and then transitioning to being like a sober, healthy lifestyle. But it's really cool because you get to pursue so many different things with that lifestyle that you're like, oh yeah, this kid would be more proud. Like this
Yeah.
is a life that you would be happy to talk about with your grandma or
Yeah.
tell your kids about. So it's like that future version of yourself will be proud of you, and that past version of yourself will be proud of you. So that's kind of the self-reflection there.
That is I love that, and I also like, it gives me goosebumps when you're saying that about that kid, because I think we all can relate to, looking back and having those dreams. So like, if you ask any 10-12-year-old kid today, what do you want to do when you grow up? Like, I think I'm not saying that everyone would say that they would be an athlete, but they still would have big dreams and hopes for the future. And then at some point you kind of just accept that not all the dreams will come true.
Yeah.
But then what do you do to still make sure that that kid is proud, right? Like, I think that is maybe a question that all of us should ask ourselves, because for me, I lived as an athlete from a very young age, and
Yeah.
then coming to the realization that, okay, that dream is not going to come true. I'm never going to be an Olympian. And then for me, it's only 2 years ago that I found running and realized, oh, I'm like fairly good at this. I can have a
Mhm.
lot of fun. And then seeing now, like being here in Boston this week, doing the Boston on Monday, being like, this is kind of my Olympics, right? Like, I'm not comparing it to the Olympics, but it's still, it's like the closest that I can get. And I still, when you're saying what you're saying, I feel like I can look back and say that, okay, I think that 6-year-old or 10-year-old kid would be proud and say that this is really cool. That, yeah, I love that way of thinking.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about a question when you were saying this, because when you then look back and think of the time that you had in college doing those, or having that more unhealthy lifestyle, are you still grateful that you got to experience that and then like experiencing what you do now? Or do you look back and you're like, oh, I wish that I realized this earlier?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, um, I'm I'm definitely still grateful of like the experiences. Because like I've made a lot of friends. I've been able to learn the hard way with some things.
Mm-hmm.
I've had those experiences that I almost needed to get out of my system.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm definitely still grateful. It would be nice if it was a straight line, right? Like from childhood to knowing exactly what you want. Like I almost envy those people that from like 5 years old on, they know, hey, I want to be a computer scientist, or like I
Yeah.
want to work in tech, or like whatever it may be. And they have like a straighter path. But yeah, it's not the case. And I mean, I don't think there's any benefit to not loving what has happened in your life.
Yeah.
There's no benefit that comes out of that. So you got to find some sort of way to love everything that happens in your life, whether it's a mishap or tragedy or thing like that. I have a very fortunate and lucky life, and I'm very privileged, and I'm happy to acknowledge that. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the uh, I think it's important to like come to terms with like anything in the past. You can't change it, so might as well love it. And
Yeah.
it's like a part of loving who you are today because it's part of it. Um, yeah,
But I honestly also think that like the way you're talking about these things, you're much more like, you will always be more reflected. Like, you will have
yeah,
more to contribute with to others, and so
yeah,
like I hope my question didn't come off as like, oh, you should have realized this earlier. For me, it was actually opposite, where I'm like, it must be great to have had that experience, because for me, like choosing to be an athlete at a very young age, and then living that lifestyle, that very healthy lifestyle, very structured, disciplined lifestyle for so long. I don't regret not going out partying or doing those things, but I did realize that when I met my fiance and I was done as an athlete, I was like, now I need to do some things. I need to kind of experience life in a different way. So I got to that stage, and I did that for like maybe a year or two, and then I was like, you know what, like I miss that that very healthy lifestyle again, and here we are with the running. So I think that you experiencing what you did kind of makes it just so much more. I don't know. It has more of an impact when you can make a video that the way you did, and then I'm not gonna say that video is everything, but it's more like it really inspires me seeing that, and I'm sure that it does for a lot of people.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think it was something I say, or I guess like a quote that I've like said to myself, is that, the adversity you face becomes your superpower. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like some people in my family have like struggled with alcoholism, or some people have struggled with other health issues, and what you have faced in the past then becomes your superpower, because then you can be an inspiration to people that struggle with that same thing. Then
Yeah.
you have a story that's more powerful. So then
Mm-hmm.
that becomes your triumph story, not
Yeah.
your like
Exactly.
victimhood story and stuff. So then it becomes like super powerful when you have faced that thing. And again, like I kind of said this, but it's good to sometimes get that out of your system. Like it's better to
Yeah.
be 19 and doing dumb stuff than 25 and doing dumb stuff. In
I
my
agree.
mind.
Yeah. And so then and so kind of mid COVID, is that when you said you found running, and that's when you started doing or spending more time running?
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
like came back. I started running a little bit when I was in Germany, and then I came back in March 2020, and I was helping my uncle like restore houses.
Mm-hmm.
We were just had one big project we were working on that spring and summer. Then I had an internship that summer, and like I started following a workout plan of it was actually from Nick Bear. He made it free
Oh,
during
yeah.
COVID,
Yeah.
and
Cool.
that was pretty sweet, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get ripped like this guy.
Yeah.
But it incorporated a lot of running, and it was my introduction to the sport. And I remember the first time I ran 7 miles, and of course it was like I had to walk a lot during it. It was
Yeah.
hard, but it's like, oh wow, I can actually run further than 2-3 miles at a time.
Because how was it to run for you then? Like, based on what you said, it doesn't sound like maybe running was like a part of your daily routine before. So like starting to integrate that into your weekly or daily routine, how was that? Was that hard to kind of make that transition?
Yeah, I think having a plan is so important, starting out, because then you kind of have the structure. Where I wasn't running every day, because if I would have done that, I definitely would have gotten
Oh yeah.
injured quicker.
Mm-hmm.
But probably running 3 days a week or 2 days a week, and that was huge. And then I was doing at-home workouts that were like burpees, push-ups, pull-ups.
Yeah.
I forget what, body weight squats, lunges, things like that. That are just solid movements to get back to the basics.
That must actually
And
be a great advantage of using Nick Bear's program, that so much strength training is in there, because I think that a lot of runners make that mistake, myself
yeah,
included, that you kind of focus so much on the running that you forget about the essentials of strength training.
yes, 100%. And I was really lucky, to come across that, because it was both. Because like I was afraid of running for that reason too. I was like, oh, I don't want to like, get injured or like lose a
Mm-hmm.
ton of muscle mass. And I realized that it doesn't have to be that way from Nick
Yeah.
Bear's time.
Cool. And then when did you like start thinking about doing marathons? Because like on your Instagram it says from 4:41 to 2:57, which is quite the improvement. How early on did you do, or when did you do your first marathon?
Yeah, that was so like I was saying here, March 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and then September 2021 was my first marathon. So about 18 months after I started running. I was not prepared at all,
Okay,
and
so you didn't like set yourself a goal. I'm gonna do a marathon, and then you trained for it for months. It was more like an impulsive kind of thing, or
yeah, I just started running a little bit longer. Like I started running like 12 plus miles pretty
mm-hmm.
frequently, and then I was like, okay, I can run a marathon. And then I did it. So it wasn't an actual race.
Okay,
I was still like, timing myself
yeah,
and out there trying to not take as many breaks as possible. And it was 4:41
yeah.
was my initial time, and it was rough at the end. Like the
Okay,
longest
so
I'd ever
that was
run.
hard. Like that was at that time that was like a
Yeah,
hard
it
effort
was
for you.
everything I had.
Okay, yeah.
It was everything I had. I was like my quads were like spasming by the end, and the longest I'd run was 15 miles. And
Okay,
it was
yeah.
definitely cool because it was pushing my limits of what I'm capable of, but
Mm-hmm.
also educated me that I'm capable of so much more. I'm like, what if
Yeah,
I just prepared far better? Like I know
yeah.
I can. So
And how did you do any like, or I assume that you did some marathons between that one and the 257,
yeah,
because 257 is your PR now, right?
256 actually. So I just broke
56.
it. Yeah,
Okay. Sorry, I just looked at your Instagram. So I
yeah,
tried to scroll through your whole Instagram to find like if you had a recent marathon, but I couldn't really find it. So, but okay, 256. So how long did it take from this 441 in training to the 256 marathon, or
yeah,
257 maybe, if that was the first one you did sub 3?
yeah. The reason why I put 257 is I think it's cooler that it was that in about 2 years.
Yeah.
I've
Right. Yeah.
improved that much. So I let's see, I went March the next year, so September, and I went and paced my buddy on a 50
Mhm.
miler, and that was my
Mhm.
next marathon. And it was a big PR. It was probably like 4 hours and 10, 15
Wow.
minutes or
Yeah.
something. So it was
Mhm.
a massive PR for me. Like this was the first time I took a gel while running as well. The first one I only had a banana and a liquid IV, and
So
I
you
had
had
no.
nothing really going for you on the first one. Like there was, you didn't put yourself up for success.
No, I had no clue. I had no clue. So it was definitely like David Goggins inspired. That type of mindset of like, screw the world. I'm gonna go prove
Yeah.
everyone else wrong.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do it. And little did I know, no one cares that if
Mhm.
I'd run it or not. So I might as well just prepare and give myself the benefit of the doubt. But then
Yeah.
he gave me some gels during that. I was like kind of
Yeah.
educating me on the fueling. I was like, okay, this makes it a lot easier. This
Mhm.
is like improving the cramping and the bonking that I'm experiencing. And then my first real marathon was so I was like feeling good. 2022, I tore my meniscus
Mhm.
wakeboarding. So I was
Oh.
wakeboarding you behind a boat, and uh, I had to be on crutches for a month, and I couldn't run for
Mhm.
6 months.
Oh wow.
Then that happened that summer where I was gonna try to do a marathon. I actually signed up for one that winter, so
Yeah.
2022. I couldn't run it, and then I came back, and the next fall, so I spent all of 2023 basically prepping,
Yeah.
biking, running, and building back my endurance. And then I
Mhm.
ran a 324. It was, yeah, 324. I was going for sub 3 there, and
Yeah.
it did not go well. The second half was so painful.
But still a
Uh,
lot of improvement though. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
100%. A huge improvement. I can't be anything but like happy with that effort
Mhm.
of like holding on through 18 miles at 650 pace. Like
Yeah.
that's great.
That is really good.
And then just a few months after that, I like took notes after that race and got some more mileage in, and then I broke 3 at the Philly Marathon in 2023. So 2 years after that first
But
marathon
that
distance.
also includes like 6 months of no running and crutches and everything.
Yeah, which is crazy,
Wow.
right?
That
So
is that is wild. And was that also your Boston qualifier then? Because you did the Boston last year, right?
So yes, technically it was like a sub 3, but I got into Boston because I was working at a running shop at the time.
Okay,
And
yeah.
The Adidas rep said, "Hey, do you want to run Boston?" And
Hmm.
I couldn't say no. I mean,
So
I didn't earn it.
did you listen to the latest episode of Life in Stride, where
I haven't listened to it yet.
they they were discussing this part of like, and maybe they were talking about you without mentioning names, but they were talking about like whether or not it was okay to like qualify for the Boston without actually qualifying, like not
Yeah,
getting in, but like but I like my thought on this was that if you are that fast, you're already that fast, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
if you did a 4 hour marathon and you got one, like maybe it would have been different, but it's still, yeah. I mean, sometimes life just gives you some opportunities that you
yeah,
should take advantage of. I mean, running in Boston's, it's huge. So
yeah. I mean, it's like your boss is saying, "Hey, you got a promotion. Do you
hmm
want to take it?" I'm gonna say yes. Like an
yeah,
opportunity presents
definitely.
itself.
I
I can't
support
say
that
no,
100%. Yeah.
even though it's like, oh, I don't know if I really earned that promotion. I like because there's some imposter syndrome. I didn't really
Yeah,
earn my
definitely.
way into Boston, but I can't let that ego or that pride get in the way of the experience.
No. But I mean, you still made the, like, you ran a fast enough marathon to register for Boston at least. It's just like the cutoff times last couple of years been crazy. So
Yeah.
that's, yeah. That's really cool. How was it to run Boston?
Dude, it was awesome. I mean, absolutely electric.
Yeah.
You should be so stoked. Boston, yeah, today's Friday, so it's on Monday. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be epic. Like, how's the weather looking?
It's looking great, honestly. It's gonna be like 40, 50s and
Wow.
cloudy slash sunny. So it's like, I
Yeah,
don't think it could be better. It's gonna be pretty, like, fairly cold for the people watching, I guess. Like they have to
yeah,
dress,
that's okay.
but like for us as runners, I think it's gonna be perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. For
Yeah. I actually drove through the course yesterday, so that was
oh,
my
man.
first time seeing it, and I was honestly surprised by what it was like compared to what I thought it was, because like the first 5 miles, I thought it was like almost like this, even though I've seen the profile and stuff, just like because people are saying, yeah, it's downhill, but it's more like more rolling hills than I thought it would be.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there's still some like the first mile is pretty drastically downhill.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's pretty awesome. Like the course is just crazy seeing it, like taking the bus from the finish line to the start
Mm-hmm.
line. Like it
Mm-hmm.
takes a really long time. And
Yeah.
it's kind of sinks in. It's like, wow, I got to run all the way back to where we just got on the bus. And it takes
Yeah.
like 45 minutes to get out there on the bus. So
Yeah, it just, it's, I feel like it's very different. So I've only done one official marathon, and that one, it was like from, you kind of just ran one way and then almost turned around and
mhm,
ran back. And I was talking to Chris Sadler, you know who that
mhm.
is? Yeah, the other day,
I love
and
him. Yeah,
yeah, he's
Chris.
great. Yeah,
Yeah,
loved having him on the pod. He taught me a lot about the Boston that I think I really needed to hear. So
good.
yeah, but we were talking about how both of us, we kind of love going one way and then just turning around, because then you're so happy, you get the feeling of being halfway there, because then you
Yeah,
know, okay, now I'm just running back. Whilst with the Boston, you just point to point, and you just, okay, now I'm halfway there, but I have no idea what that actually means in a way. So no,
yeah.
really excited about that.
But you do have like, the Wellesley college girls
Yeah,
screaming
yeah.
at mile 13, and then you come up on like the hills, the Newton hills that start to like
Mm-hmm.
around mile 15, 16 that are like you're like, okay, I there's the landmarks there that at
Yeah.
least give you that sense. And for me, honestly, the hardest part wasn't the heartbreak, it was after heartbreak. So
Oh yeah.
it
So
was
you felt the haunted mile, or the graveyard mile there that they're talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
like 22, 23 was pretty rough just because like your quads are so blown up.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year it was like 70 degrees. I had a sunburn
Yeah.
after the
I, I
race.
s- I was actually thinking about that the other day. I was like, because when I heard people like not complaining but saying that it was so hot, I was like, well, it's not that hot. Like, like going to Spain, it's like 90 and just it's not. I've been running there, and then I went out for a run here the other day, and it was pretty hot. Like
Yeah.
not super hot, but like pretty just high 60s. And I was like, you know what? This is way too warm to run a marathon, and like I don't want it to be this hot. So now seeing that, I feel like the perfect weather conditions would be if you're like cold on, like when you're in Athletes Village and you feel like, oh, I'm cold, I want to start running because I'm cold. That would probably be the ideal, and it looks like it's gonna be like that. So
Yeah, that's the way you want it. You want to feel like a little cold, like you're still the nerves and everything, so you're still like warm underneath a few layers. Yeah, it's awesome, man. I'm definitely gonna go back. For me, it wasn't like a good race because I was coming in injured, which it was a huge lesson to me on how to prepare better for races.
Yeah.
But it's just a special race, so you can't be anything but like stoked to be on the course there. Like it just gives you chills.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. But I guess like that, what you're saying there kind of leads me to my next question for you, and that is like, what are your goals going forward with running? What's your next goal, but also what's your long-term goal?
Yeah. Okay. First, so my next goal is I'm running a 50K in June on the trails. I really don't have much expectations around the time or the place or anything like that, because I've just never run the distance before. It's gonna be like you running your first marathon. Like I feel pretty experienced now. I feel pretty fit, but I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna go. So I'm just gonna leave it all out there and just learn from the experience. And long term, yeah, it's tough. I struggle to put like a number to it, but it's more so I just want to be enjoying the sport for as long as possible. I want a sustainably like healthy lifestyle where I'm experiencing the joys of racing as long as possible, and where I'm having to take as little time as possible off due to injury or inconsistency and things like that. I just want to like make my training sustainable. I was running leading up to Boston like 70-mile weeks, and I was handling it pretty well, and I was progressing well until I wasn't anymore. Until I started getting like a nagging pain and then deciding to run through it, and then I ended up with a tibial stress fracture.
Yeah, I saw.
And that sucked. So that was a good lesson to me of like, it's never worth like, it was impacting my life like outside of running. It would be one thing if I just couldn't run, but then also I couldn't walk, and I was like in a boot. I'm like, there's never a reason for the sport to, I guess, like, I'm not a pro, so I don't need to be laying my body on the line like this, but I want to keep on improving, but in a very sustainable fashion. Like, I want to be running when I'm 70. Like, that would be so cool. And like running with my kids or my grandkids, and still able to do like a full squat, all those markers of health, like a long health span is what I want.
I love that. I think it's really cool. I mean, for myself, I'm so competitive, so I always think about times and results. But lately, I've also been thinking about what you're saying there, because when you run, and especially when you're chasing those times, you will push your body maybe a bit too much, and then you might end up like, I'm walking around, even though I'm running a marathon on Monday, I'm still walking around feeling like I'm much older than I am, because like my knees are aching a little bit, and then some hips are painful. Like I don't think that's because I've been pushing myself too hard. It's just that I've struggled a lot this block to just actually have consistency, and then it hasn't worked out well. But just, I don't know if I would say it's worth it if I did say a 2:20 marathon in 2025, and then after 25 I couldn't run again. Like that's not how it is. I mean, if you are one of the best athletes in the world, you might be like, okay, I'm risking everything now, and I might not be able to be active for the rest of my life, but at least I got that Olympic gold medal. Maybe that's worth it, but I'm not sure if you would look back and be like, I'm happy that I got 30 years of like a good body, and then the rest of my life was just almost in a
Yeah.
wheelchair.
Yeah, there's a quote, I forget who it's from, but it's like, no one really cares if you're in shape for 6 weeks.
No,
Like,
exactly.
so like a lot of people take it like, oh, I'm gonna do like, a marathon prep, then I'm gonna be really in shape, or I'm gonna have like, a diet, and then I'm gonna have a 6 pack for like 2 months or something like that. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'd much rather be able to run 10 250 marathons in my life than probably run one 220 marathon and not be able to enjoy a single other marathon. I think like that's probably a hot take, pretty controversial. Like I want to run a sub 240 marathon. Like that would be
Yeah, no,
awesome. But
but
like if it's coming at the cost of all those other
hmm
exciting fun times, traveling with friends, going to run club, like making
yeah.
friends through the sport, like if it's coming at that cost, I don't think it's worth buying it.
No, I agree with you. I love how you are like focusing so much on this healthy lifestyle, because I think it's easy to forget, and like it's easy, also easy, I think, for to a lot of people to think that top sport, like professional sports, is a healthy thing.
Yeah.
But obviously it's not. Like if you're at the highest level, then you kind of cross that line going into this is not healthy anymore. It's like you're in good shape, but it's not healthy, like long term, not sustainable. And before we jump into something that I know that is like that, you have the product that I'm probably the most curious about
Yeah.
in the world of running. Like
Mm.
I have two products that I really want to try that I'm very curious about. Is one is the Coros watch,
Yeah.
and then it's the Azoia gels. We're gonna get into that, but before we do that, I'm just curious to hear, because you said you had a stress-induced fracture. And I think that is kind of like every runner's nightmare, and the biggest fear that we're having as runners is like, what if I have this? And as soon as you start feeling any pain, you're like, what if it's a stress-induced fracture?
Yeah.
And then you were saying something about how that sucked, like dealing with it at the time. But how has it been coming back and being able to like get back to the consistency of running after something like that?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, it's made me treasure it more. Just those weekly and everyday runs. Um, but I've definitely been more diligent with my prehab exercises, and I've discovered like the importance of hip mobility and strength
Mm-hmm.
that are
Yeah.
so important for any downstream effects on your back, on your tibia, shin, calf complex that you need to take care of those like hips first and foremost, and then also incorporate like stress to those tendons and bones via like plyometrics and
Yeah.
other things once you get that inflammation down. But like if you got inflammation, it's definitely not a good idea. So I've been able to learn so much about my body through those challenges. And it's made the running that much sweeter because now I've like, every run, I'm like, this is awesome. I get to get
Yeah.
out here and
Yeah.
actually enjoy it and run pain free. And that's the dream.
But I've heard a lot of people saying, or like doctors at least, they're saying that if you have this once, like you're more likely to get it again if you're not careful. Is that also something that you had to kind of be more aware of
Yeah.
coming back, and now because you're kind of building up your mileage again now, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm not going crazy with mileage right now. Like
no.
I've developed a pretty like, I guess, conservative training strategy
Mm-hmm.
where I'm running like, let's say like 40 miles a week or so, as opposed to like the 70 prior.
Yeah.
And I would definitely say that you are probably predisposed to repetitive fractures or inflammation because of your leg alignment or
Mm-hmm.
your stride or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Like you probably have some weakness or misalignment that you need to compensate for via
Mm-hmm.
preventative training.
Yeah.
And I think that like that's been eliminated to me because like I have flat feet, and I think that's really what's pulling the posterior
Yeah.
uh, tendon, tibial tendon down, um, and causing the the consistent stress there that caused the stress fracture.
But I've seen that you like on your Instagram, you're doing all these exercises. I'm sure that's like part of what you were saying about hip mobility and hip strength and all of that. How much would you like contribute to that for like being able to now run pain free? Because that's something that I personally, I'm like, I know about it and I'm trying to be good at it at times, and then I kind of forget about it because I want to prioritize running. And yeah, I think a lot of us can relate to that dilemma, but it looks like you found like that solution.
I think it's been huge for me. It's like a solution I didn't want to hear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not the sexy stuff that you're doing at the gym. I'm not pumping iron or doing curls. I'm doing like hip thrusts and clamshells, right? Like no guy is envious of me in the gym, but
you're like the influencer girls, kind of like,
yeah,
yeah.
Honestly, they had it figured out. They were ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
but like, yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's not the sexy stuff for guys, at least. Maybe for girls, it's a little easier to get in the gym and do it. But I definitely have seen that work is crucial.
Yeah.
And at some points, I've been prioritizing it over my runs because I'm like, I've taken a step back and been like, I don't care that much about my outcome for this marathon. Like I just ran one in February. It was a 2:56, but I was like, I don't like care that much. That I just want to be like healthy, make it to the start line and make it to the finish line in a pretty good time and just see where I am. So that was big for me. And I really think they are important. I'm still building back that strength, but I'm feeling much more resilient now. So I'm big proponent.
Cool. I think I was thinking about that when I saw one of your videos the other day. I was like, I need to be better at this. Like this is definitely, it's so easy to kind of come up with excuses of like, oh, I don't understand why my hips are tight or why there's like, I kind of know why, but I just am not good at this. So, but how frequently do you do these? Like how many times a week do you have those workouts?
Between 2 to 4, I'd say.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So depending on the week. Like this week I was traveling, so I'm probably just gonna hit the gym twice. And I do like a mix, I'm doing these kind of rehab exercises along with some stuff like bench press or I don't know, tricep work. Like so I'm trying to do a pretty comprehensive routine, but yeah, I think that it's all important and I needed that to get more consistent with that work. So 2 to 4 times a week right now. But honestly, when I wasn't running and just coming back, I was doing these workouts like 7 days a week because it was the only activity I could get.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just want to hammer these muscles, get blood flow to them every day, provide That's some really sort of stimulus to them to force an adaptation.
That's smart. I'll try to integrate that more going forward. I think I need to just keep watching your videos to be like, okay, this is important. Get that daily reminder, kind of.
Yeah, check.
Yeah. Okay. So like I actually realized this morning because my fiance was asking me who am I having this podcast with, and I was like, it's Joe, and then I realized that I didn't even have a relationship to your last name because I only know you as Azoia-Joe. Like that's what I heard, and and I don't know how many times I've heard Life in Stride Boys, like the ad for the Azoia-Joe. But I'm really curious about this because I want you to introduce the product and everything about it. But in short, you have a gel that is very different from the other gels on the market, I would say. What is Azoia?
Yeah, so Azoia, currently we make the world's simplest gel. Only has 5 ingredients listed on the front of the package. I compare it to RX bar and protein bars, where you have simple ingredients listed on the front and no BS, right? Like that's their thing. And I thought, why don't we do it simpler? Because through my struggles with fueling, I learned how simple it really can be. in a fundamental way. And I was like, why don't people make it simpler? So it's got the chia seeds in there to slow absorption of sugars. Agave nectar is the primary carbohydrate or sugar source. And then we put in lime juice for taste. And it's also worked great because it's basically a natural preservative. We
Hmm.
pasteurize them, but yeah, so it's just like a very, very simple gel that I was making for myself. I was handing it to some people, getting good feedback. I was like, why not do this? I was leaving my I was working at a software company, and I was leaving independent of like starting another endeavor. I was just leaving for my own reasons, and this just kind of like popped into my head. I was like, I love running. I love runners. I
Hmm.
This is the type of population I want to serve with my work. So why not produce something that some people might resonate with?
Cool. So it actually was just something that you were making at home for yourself instead of taking the on market gels.
Yeah, so it started with maple syrup in my water bottles. So I put maple syrup in water bottles with salt. And
Hmm.
then I learned that Morton, they use sodium alginate and pectin as soluble fiber. And I know this sounds like ridiculous, but like, how their whole thing is hydrogel technology.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically just soluble fiber mixed with water. And what that does is it creates a gel, like a thicker substance. It's the same thing with oatmeal. When you mix up oats,
Yeah.
the water pulls out the soluble fiber from the oats. And that's why
Hmm.
oats are so good for you to have in the morning, because they slowly absorb the carbohydrates into your system because of that
Hmm.
fiber. So that's what Morton does. And I was like, okay, what's like, I just started learning more and doing more research. I was like, chia seeds are a great way to make a gel. Like, I think most people
Yeah.
know that if you add chia seeds to water, they make a thick
Hmm.
gel-like substance.
Yeah.
And so I started experimenting with that and putting it together with maple syrup, and it made it pretty delicious, and also made it very easy on my stomach. So maple syrup, just straight maple syrup, can be a little too sugary
Yeah.
and can upset your stomach after, I don't know, 100 grams of carbs and maple
Yeah.
syrup.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So, yeah, stumbled upon the recipe, started with maple syrup, and now, like I said, we use agave nectar for taste,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
found a recipe that works pretty well.
That is really cool. So how, like, how is the business going now? Because at
Yeah.
least for me, who's like fairly into this running community, especially with I guess Life and Stride. Like, I keep repeating that, but like
Yeah.
that's where I've heard about it. But I've also started hearing about it or seeing it other places. And so to me, it feels like it has a big presence in the running community in the States.
Yeah.
How are things now? How's it going?
So it's good. I mean, I'm so lucky to have those guys from Life and Stride. Like, they've been awesome for sharing the word. Like, such good guys and great partners when it came to it. They were on like their fifth episode, and I had just launched the product, and they approached me, and I was like, "Yeah, sure. I like your message. I like you guys.
Cool.
I'd be happy to support you." So the partnership started there, and then um, I was working at a running store. I was like, and just following other grass channel routes to
Hmm.
sharing the product. And yeah, it, it's been going well, from like getting it in the hands of people and finding consumers. Uh, but the biggest issue right now is the production. So
Yeah.
I don't have a background in consumer packaged goods or anything like that. So I'm trying to figure out how to produce it more efficiently. Because
Yeah,
at this
because
point, I've probably produced 20,000 by hand with
yeah,
me and my mom and my girlfriend. Yeah.
okay, yeah, because I was curious about who we was. So that is like it's very much a family business at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to start somewhere, right? And
Yeah, no,
super
definitely.
lucky to
But
have.
so how many are you producing every week, and how much? This must take a lot of time.
Yeah. So it does. It does take a lot of time. And I'm showing the packaging right now, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you can see you got to screw on the cap. So you fill it, screw on the cap, then we put it in a hot water bath. to kill any pathogens. So it's pasteurization is the
Yeah.
process, and then it's got a back label and a front label that we put on afterwards. So that's all done basically by hand, the filling
Wow.
and the labeling. So we probably produce, I just rough estimate of 1,000 a month or so, and that is pretty time consuming at the moment, and that's why I'm like focusing most of my effort now on not growing at the current rate, but finding the next phase growth.
Yeah.
How are we gonna, like, we need to make a leap in terms of our production method in order
Mm-hmm.
to actually scale the business, because I would love for each one to be, you know, labeled by me, by yours truly, and be like packaged and everything by me, but that's not going to be the way forward. It can't
No.
be. It's just
No.
way too time consuming to actually create a business out of. So
But that's I find this very like it's interesting and it's cool, and I also feel like so I have a pretty sensitive stomach when it comes to running and fueling,
yeah,
and so I partnered up a couple of years ago with something called Fuel of Norway, which is like it's only in Norway, and it's much more natural ingredients. So it's like it's still a gel in the sense that you probably would like when you think of a gel. It's kind of like that, but it's they have taken a much more natural approach to it, which is like okay, it's worked out fine. But then when I heard about your product, I was like, this is very interesting because like it's all natural and it just makes more sense in a lot of ways. Like I know that my body loves the chia seeds. Like
yeah,
these are products and natural products that are probably just gonna benefit my body no matter what. Because like if I had a gel right now, like while we were sitting here, a normal gel, I would kind of feel like okay, I'm waiting for my stomach to tell me, hey, that wasn't like the best thing you could feed me with
yeah,
right
yeah,
now. So no, I think this is very it's very interesting and very cool. And I can't believe that you're like doing everything by hand. And what impresses me even more with that is that I haven't tried your gels yet, but I when I see like how it's with the top, it just looks like that is a much better solution than any of the other ones, because first of all you can have some screw it back on, right, if I'm
yeah,
not wrong, and then you can't put it back in your pocket. So if you don't feel like you can stomach the whole thing, you can take a little bit of it and put it back. So that's
yeah,
one that's great for practical reasons. And then also I struggle to like get everything out and it being messy with the normal gels, and with that it just seems like you could almost put it in your mouth and suck it out. Like
yeah,
just it's I can't believe that you have a product that you're making at home, you yourself, your mom and your sister, and you're making a product that looks like it's more practical or like convenient to use than the big brands. That's
yeah. You got to start somewhere. Yeah, 100%. And it's I don't know. Yeah, like I love that you're experimenting with the gels, and you have like what you said, Fuel of Norway. Like it's so important for endurance athletes to find carbohydrate sources. Like
yeah.
for if you want to be successful in this sport, you need to be able to fuel well,
Mm-hmm.
and
Definitely.
that's like something I found. It's like I'd rather minimize my supplement intake
Mm-hmm.
and maximize my food intake, and just focus on that. Like, how do I get real foods down as much as
Yeah.
possible? Especially when I'm pushing my body, I don't want anything to turn. Like I don't want to be
No.
taking something that's too extreme.
No.
Uh, so, yeah, it was been a really good experience, and the whole packaging was. We started in like just regular plastic bags, and then we found these.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been a great way to get the product out there. However, they are expensive and things like that. So it makes sense why some other brands aren't using them.
Yeah.
But I mean, for us, it's been a great way to get started.
No, it's yeah, I love that. How what is your like plans and dreams going forward for Azoia?
Yeah. Good question. So we actually just applied for a grant. Hopefully we get some more funding.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully through that community. It's through an entrepreneurship community based out of North Carolina here.
Yeah.
We get some more mentorship, some more direction. Because for me, I mean, the most important thing is going to be the knowledge and the skills that I acquire going forward. Because the brand story is really cool so far, but all the value and all the people that we can help lies in the future still. And the way to
Mm.
access that is by learning for me and acquiring more skills. So that's my emphasis. It's like I need to acquire more skills. I need to learn more, and being a part of community will be very helpful. Being more continually engaged in the running community will be really helpful. Um, yeah, hopefully we get to find a better production method. It might be a contract manufacturer, so a manufacturer somewhere in the U.S. that can help us, or
Mm.
us purchasing the machinery to help
Yeah.
upgrade the manufacturing ourselves. We'll see. It's one of those things that like I can speculate all day, but I really don't. I don't know what
No.
the future holds, and I just got to keep an open mind.
Fun.
Um, I have plans, but those plans are definitely subject to change
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know what I don't know. And like I said, my goal is just to continually be acquiring as many skills and learning as quickly as possible.
But is this like what you're doing full time now? Is this your or
Yeah.
are you, yeah? So it's
So
not just a side hustle.
yeah, so I left a full time software job, and I was still living with my parents. Incredibly lucky to have that, saving
Mm-hmm.
money, things like that. And then I started working at a running shop in Nashville, and the Exchange Running Collective. Shout out to them. They're awesome store, great owners, and great partner too. It's also the first store where we had Azoia.
Ah,
So just
nice.
been so helpful and such a good community to like test the product with and get it out there for people to support. And they've been hugely supportive. But um sorry, I forgot where I was going there. But
If it's a side
it
hustle or if it's just your main or full time job now, or
yes,
yeah.
sorry.
No, no
Then I
worries.
left Nashville. So I left the running store and I decided I'm living here in Charlotte. I'm like, why not just take 6 months and let's try to do it full time.
Cool.
So for the past 6 months, I've been doing it full time, and it's been tough, like from a financial security and stress.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm 25, and now's the time to experiment and just have one sole focus in my mind
Mm-hmm.
of like one thing I'm trying to learn about, one thing I'm trying to do, because yeah, it's pretty nice to like wake up and know, okay, this is what I'm doing today, as opposed to like wake up, run, get to work. Maybe after work I have time for this. Maybe I don't. Maybe
Yeah.
on the weekend I have time for this. Maybe I don't. Um, so yeah, we'll see how long I can sustain this, but um, it's been fun to at least try.
I think it's really cool. I love that, and I think that I have no doubt that you will succeed. Like obviously, it will always be a question of time and how, but it's I also think that it's just the right time to do this because I think most of us are thinking more, like that sustainable way, that healthy way. You start considering more what are you eating, how are you fueling, whether that is for sports or in general. And I just yeah, I really believe in this for so many reasons. And I know that I'm not alone feeling like my body and stomach is a bit sensitive when running. I'm not even sure if it's right to say sensitive. It's just that like some products might work for some people and some not so much. But with this, I feel like I don't see how it wouldn't really work when you have all the natural products. So like as long as you know that you're not reacting to one, like if you have an intolerance to chia seeds, then that's probably not the product for you. But
Yeah.
other than that, it's like, so for me, for instance, I actually have an intolerance to oats.
Oh,
which is
yeah.
very inconvenient. But that's also why I love your product. So like I'm really hoping that if you ever come out with like sports bars, because like there's no energy bar out
Yeah.
there that doesn't have oats or rice in it, and I have oats and rice intolerance. And so
Okay.
like if you have something with chia seeds, then like
Yeah.
I'm buying it. I will just buy all of it. So
We need
that's
chia seeds and sweet potatoes for you or something
yeah,
like.
something like that.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
really, really excited about that, and I hope that I get to try it soon. But like that's definitely a product that I think that is
100%.
very sustainable for runners going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll definitely have to send you some.
yeah, would
Get
love
you
that.
to try them. Maybe
Yeah.
not, but for Boston, we don't want you
No,
trying
I
a
think
brand new
yeah,
gel.
that's probably a good idea. Like I've been going back and forth on like now I'm going with Martin just because they're on the course in case I need it. But yeah, and maybe I should hit you up with like maybe you can have some talks with Fuel of Norway too. Maybe you guys could work together on some stuff because I know that they want to like expand too, and they're pretty big in Norway now, especially with
Yeah.
the cycling community
Yeah.
and triathletes. So maybe that could be like you guys could talk to each other and I don't know, if not work together, at least learn from each other somehow.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's so important. Like, I'm not a big like competitor. I mean, I'm competitive, but amongst myself.
Yeah.
I've tried to get that out of my head of like, I am very competitive, but I try not to be like. I think running's help with that. It's like
Yeah.
the person next to you, yeah, you're competing, but you also want them to have a great race. They're your friends. Like that's the beauty of running is like we're not truly competing against one another. We're truly
No.
competing against ourselves.
Yeah.
And in that same vein, it's like I always tell myself, like, yeah, it's a very competitive market of fueling and
Mm-hmm.
nutrition, but that doesn't mean like there's thousands of people running the Boston Marathon, tens of thousands,
Yeah.
and that doesn't like exclude you from running your own race, and being
No.
happy with the race you run. You're not gonna win. I'm sorry, you're not.
No.
There's
That's
a
yeah.
it's impossible for you to win, and
Yeah.
I but I think like for me, it's like I'd rather just go and run the race and be a part of it, and then
Yeah.
having people I'm running alongside or climbing the mountain of entrepreneurship alongside. And if we're
Yeah.
serving the same mission, that's awesome. Like
Yeah. That's
then
really
we can
cool.
learn together. We can. I mean, I'm probably not going to expand into Norway tomorrow.
No.
Like not going to
That
try to
makes
take their
sense.
market.
No,
So
yeah. I think that that all makes sense, and I think that's the way you. I think also that's a bit underrated in business. Like,
yeah,
for me, I have a filmmaking and photography business, and I just, like I've seen that skills will just get you so far. Like being nice and like being on that journey together with other people. That is kind of the most essential part at the end of the day. So yeah. I'm actually curious, but like, so this is the last thing I want to ask you about today, which is because you are good with content yourself, but I also know that you're good friends with Wyatt Moss, who's like the king of content right now when it comes to running. Just quick, I'm just gonna forgot to put my charger into my MacBook here.
You're good.
There we go. Yeah, I heard that you kind of took notes on his content strategy, how he was doing this, and just like quick, what is your take on the way? And for the listeners who don't know who Wyatt Moss is, he did 50 marathons in 50 states in 2024. Recently, did 7 marathons in 7 continents in 7 days. Like. And obviously, like just by doing that, you will grow a following, and it's like kind of regardless of the content, I guess. Like if you are just posting those things frequently, but what would you say that with Wyatt, but also in general in the running community, there are a lot of us trying to produce good content and to like capture people's interest and make interesting content. What is your take on this?
Yeah, so I think I'll attack it from two different ways. First, like the almost the ethical or moral lens is like people can say, "Oh, you're trying to make your content engaging, with a hook and all these things to make it engaging and like capture people's attention, is that moral to do? Like, that's like so many people struggle with attention these days. And I think it's a moral obligation, if you have something meaningful to share, to find a way to package it well enough that it's reaching the right people, that they find inspiration or education through it. And I think that's a really important aspect that people that have a good message to share often get caught up with, is they feel that, oh, I'm too much marketing or too much showmanship to feel like that they're doing something worthwhile by sharing their message. But I think it's actually is a moral obligation to find a way to make your message impact other people. So in order to do that, right? So second part, in order to do that, you got to make your content engaging. So that's what Wyatt taught me. And I've also been a part of like a course on content creation that's helped me a ton. And you got to make sure that the first 2 to 3 seconds are in like capture people's attention, because we scroll so quickly on anything these days. Spotify, YouTube, X, Instagram, TikTok, any platform. You really got to make sure that like it's a topic that your audience is going to care about. You got to make sure that it is packaged in a way that is going to inspire curiosity for them to stick around. And the reason why, like I was saying, is like if they are curious about if you know how to get rid of shin splints, like for me, I don't have the perfect solution, but like I've gotten rid of it. I have a moral obligation to share that message, and I have a moral obligation to make sure that people that want to know how to get rid of shin splints will listen to the message. So then you got to like the first 2 to 3 seconds, make it super engaging. And then after that, make it fast paced and value packed. So a big thing, like Wyatt, he thought that people would care that he's running the 50 states marathon challenge. But the thing is, people don't really care about you or your journey yet. You got to earn the right to care. So you got to put something out that's very just, I don't know, like valuable or entertaining or something along those lines that's going to connect with people, regardless if they've seen your content or not. Just assuming that no one who is viewing this knows who you are is really important. So like for me, I've found a lot of use in like I said, these shin splints videos or nutrition videos, training, mindset, and just assuming that no one knows who I am and just trying to package each video as something that's going to be useful to them has been a game changer for me. So Wyatt, for example, he was running 50 marathons in 50 states in 2024. And he was starting videos with that, but then he realized, no, that's not the way to do it. It's to say, today I'm getting off the plane in Oklahoma, and this is all I packed, which is just like jeans and a button down, and I'm about to run a marathon. And then boom, like the audience is like, what is going on? And then after that, he tells them, hey, I'm running 50 marathons in 50 states. But you got to like have that initial like, what the hell is this guy doing? Or wow, that's interesting, or that's educational, or those things packaged in the front end. I know that's a long-winded answer, but I think that
I think that's great, and I think that's what you see too, that it is, because like first time I heard about Wyatt, I was like, oh yeah, another person doing something crazy. Like there are a lot of people doing a lot of crazy things.
Yes.
But then like, and also having listened to podcasts and following Wyatt's content, it's just like so clear that he also feels like he's on a mission for something that's bigger than himself, which I also love. It's like, and honestly, it never really matters what that mission is, like whether it's a mission like for religious reasons, or if it's just that you want to, like you said, like that's what I love about your story. I think so many people can relate to like going through those stages of life, and that making the kid proud kind of thing. And so like that might be your mission, and my mission, I feel like, is almost to kind of, show the bullies and the teachers who didn't believe in me in elementary school that, hey, look what I'm doing, so kind of integrating that into the content. But like you're saying, it doesn't really matter with that mission unless people see it. Like you have to find a way of of them seeing it. And I think that's a great way to also justify making the content that is, because all of us making this content, like, obviously it's narcissistic. Like it's a little,
it feels that way.
like
Yeah.
my mother-in-law yesterday, she was like, I could never do that. And I was like, what? Just look at myself the whole day, because I was sitting there editing a video of my road to Boston, and I was like, yeah, I guess I gotten used to it. But I also see what she means. Like it's a weird thing to sit there and just like not idolize yourself, but just like make content on yourself. But to me, it's also like, if I can inspire someone, that is great. Like the way of doing it. And then I think that the things you're talking about here, those are like imperative to getting the views, because I, as a filmmaker of profession, I am in love with more of the cinematic style, and that's without hooks, right? So it's like I know that I make like high quality content, but I also see that I'm not reaching enough people. And why is that? It's because I'm not good enough with those hooks. I don't have that like costume at the beginning of the video, and it doesn't need to be a costume, but more like that thing that grabs the attention from people. I don't have that because I have too slow of intros, for instance. And I think, like you're saying, when you start building up that following, then yes, maybe you can start slowly transitioning into doing more of that. But in the beginning, to get that following, you have to do something else. So
like Nick Bear and Eric Floberg, right? They can have long intros because people already know, enough people already know who they are and care about their prep or their journey or their fitness journey. And last thing, so on me, I was making blogs. So I was writing blogs. I was taking what I was writing in my journal, these reflections or anything like that, and I was like, these are meaningful ideas, so I should post them somewhere. So blogs. But the issue with that is like, it's long form written content. Like it's not really on a platform and it's not really reaching anyone. And that was the thing I told myself too, is like, if it's impacting one person in a positive way, it's worth me putting myself out there. And then I was like, okay, I got to find a way to reach people and where they are, which is on these social platforms. So that's why it's such a meaningful thing. And like you were saying, Wyatt has a message to share. It's not because he's running like he's doing something crazy, yes, but he's doing something crazy because he has like a message to share. And same with you. It's like, if anyone's like thinking about making content, you have like something you want to share, some person that you want to resonate with. Because I guarantee you, there's so many people out there that are pushing themselves athletically and in the marathon and in running because, bullies or teachers were mean to them or didn't believe in them. And like, you sharing that aspect and finding a way to package it in an engaging way is like providing inspiration to so many people. So,
cool. That's a great way to end the podcast. I think that is, I mean, I had a lot of respect for you, like just following you on social media, but after this conversation, I'm like, wow, it's really cool to like hear your perspectives on things, everything from like lifestyle to Azoia to running, and hip flexibility and strength. Like, speaking of, I'm actually going to a chiropractor now to try to make my hips a bit less stiff before Boston on Monday. But
good move.
I really, really appreciate you taking the time, and I hope we can keep on chatting, because I think I can learn a lot from you.
Yeah, man, we'll stay in touch. This was a lot of fun. I think it's so fun to like just hop on a call with the pure intention of getting to know someone, talking through your story. I can't wait to see how you do in Boston, man. Like, live it up.
Thanks. I'm so excited
for the last turn and soak up the crowd as you're coming home. Like, it is. What's the last turn? It's not Hereford. The last street. Boylston Street. Yeah. Swing it wide on Boylston Street and absolutely bask in like all the people there. They're gonna be like 10 deep along the rails. This is your Olympics, It's gonna be so sweet.
Oh my God. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Joe, for guesting the podcast, and have a good one.
Yeah, you too, Christian. Appreciate your time, man.
It was so good to have Joe on this podcast. I think that this is a conversation that a lot of people will benefit from hearing, whether you are a runner or not. So thanks for listening. I hope you got as much out of this as I did. And now I'm heading into the Boston Marathon weekend. So wish me luck, and I'll see you in the next one. Or actually, I'll hear you in the next one. Talk to you in the next one. We'll see. Okay, thanks for listening.
You're listening to the Marathon Podcast, brought to you by Wild Studio.